I think that Mission Impossible is the greatest action series of all time. The second one was pretty bad, but since then, each sequel has consistently topped its predecessor, with Fallout being the best in the series by far. I love what Tom Cruise is doing to keep cinema alive, and after the great cinematic experience of watching Top Gun Maverick in IMAX, I was ecstatic about seeing Dead Reckoning Part 1 on the big screen, hoping for a similar experience. But I'm sorry to report that the series has finally jumped the shark. Allow me to explain. You know, I love a good Tom Cruise sci-fi, I really do. But warn me first before you show me one, because I didn't know I'd get one with Dead Reckoning. This felt more like a Matrix film than a Mission Impossible sequel. It even has a techno club scene and a choreographed sword fight on a bridge. Keanu would be proud. Whoa. Now, I know this series always had cheesy moments and over-the-top villains, but somehow they managed to balance it out with a story grounded in reality that didn't feel too ridiculous. And after this year's events, where we almost got a Russian supervillain with nuclear powers, the films may have been more believable than I thought. But in Dead Reckoning, Ethan Hunt is fighting, get this, an all-powerful AI machine that wants to destroy the world. What the actual Each Mission Impossible film had at least one major stunt that Tom did himself and was impressive. So impressive that they used it to market the movie. The rock climbing, the skyscraper thing, hanging onto a plane, falling off a helicopter, flying a helicopter for real. Every time Tom did that stuff, we went, holy shit. But the motorcycle stunt in this film kind of fell flat. They wasted all that money prepping Tom for the motorcycle jump. And I have to admit, I respect the man and the balls it takes to do it, especially at his age. It's a really cool stunt. On paper. But it's on a huge-ass ramp that had to be deleted digitally and replaced with a CGI mountain. And they also had to digitally alter the wheels of the bike to make it look like it's going on rough mountain terrain. They added CGI clouds. It looked fake. I know it wasn't fake, but it looked fake. So, what was even the point? Tom used to say that the main reason he's doing these stunts himself is to give the audience an authentic experience, and that's great. You do get that when you see him flying that helicopter for real in Fallout or actually driving the cars that are in pursuit. Here, though, this could have easily been all CGI or not done at all. And the build-up to it was pretty weak, too, with Ethan bitching about it to Simon Pegg's character. He used to do the dangerous stuff on his own, while the rest of the team was shocked. Now it seemed he didn't want to do it, but was given no other choice by the guy that usually worries the most about this stuff.
Are you okay?
It all felt weird, and I think they wasted a lot of money and risked Tom's life for a subpar scene that could have been left on the cutting room floor. And speaking of useless scenes, I'm not gonna go full spoiler mode, but let's just say a character dies in this film for almost no reason whatsoever. What's really bothersome is how easily that character is replaced. It almost feels like they spend no time grieving. And Tom himself kinda goes, yup, you're the replacement now. Act like it. Maybe in part 2 we'll find out that the death was fake or whatever. Fine. But until then, it really seemed like a pointless scene and a waste of a character they spent a few movies building up. It was all so unnecessary, and the death itself didn't even come as a shock. It was just there after a ridiculous Matrix-like sword fight. This will be very subjective on my part, and most people probably never even noticed this, but this is the first Mission Impossible film shot digitally, and it shows. Everything is bright and crisp, and there's a lot of cheap-looking green screen work that really cheapens the film a little bit. It has that expensive yet cheap look that a lot of modern, big-budget Hollywood films have nowadays. It's hard to explain. Everything looks good, and yet it doesn't look as cinematic as it should. Or maybe Tom's just been spoiling us with the previous films. I love the way 35mm film looks, but I understand that it's inconvenient to shoot an action film with those big-ass cameras. Tom learned that too while shooting Top Gun Maverick. So I don't blame them for going digital, and this shouldn't bother me, but it does. But this is just my opinion. I'm not judging the rest of the film solely on the cheaper digital look, but I am judging it for the editing. The Dutch angles are an homage to the first one. I get it, but it seems like they went out of their way to shoot and edit this film in a weird way, and they didn't have to. One of the things that made Mission Impossible so great was the old-school, polished, cinematic feel to it, and that's now gone too. So, was it all bad? No, it's still a decent action film, and I urge you to go see it on the big screen. Support Tom Cruise because he's one of the last few people in Hollywood who know what a good cinematic experience entails. There's also the train scene at the end that makes up for a lot of the other more boring scenes in the film. I also think the opening sequence with the submarine was really well done. And hey, maybe you'll like the whole thing more than I did. But until now, each new Mission Impossible film managed to exceed my expectations and top the previous film. This one felt like they finally ran out of ideas for villains, stunts, characters, everything. The characters almost became parodies of themselves, and they all speak in riddles or cliches that made me wonder if they were purposely making fun of their own franchise, or if it was actually supposed to be serious. It's clear that they don't know where to go anymore, and they went the sci-fi route to avoid having yet another ambiguous Russian villain. But turning this into the Matrix wasn't a good idea, so in my opinion, this series has jumped the shark. I still love Tom though. Now I gotta go see the Barbie film, don't I? If you like these types of videos, subscribe to our channel for more. Don't be lazy.